Mitch Keller. I think this is the year. I mean, he's been making progress the last couple of years. I think this is the year he finally brings it all home. He had 210 strikeouts last year. So even if we just take last year's numbers at face value, I think those strikeouts are worth the cost. But he did also have a 4.21 ERA, which is unappetizing. I get that. But if he had so Mitch Keller in the second half had 4 of those disaster starts that afflicted so much of the pitching population last year in a year with a ton of rule changes. He had 4 starts in the second half where he allowed 7 earned runs or more. It was actually his only 4 starts all season where he allowed 7 earned runs or more. If you take just those 4 starts out, his ERA drops from 4.21 to 3.13. He has a 1.14 whip to go with it. He has 10.1 K per 9 to go with it. And this is a guy taking on an ace workload. I mean, if you look at his game log, and remember there are those 4 really ugly starts in there, but the good starts, I mean, 7 innings, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, 9 innings, 8 strikeouts, 7 innings, 13 strikeouts, 7 innings, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts. Like, I didn't even list them all. There are a lot of starts in Mitch Keller's game log like that. He delivers the kinds of starts only accessible to aces. And I think he just had a handful of starts last year where it all snowballed on him and skewed his ERA. I'm hoping after a year of enduring that, he's able to come up with better coping mechanisms for it, able to keep it together when things begin to spiral out of control, and is able to deliver closer to that low to 3s mid ERA to go along with the big innings and big strikeout numbers.
My one concern with Mitch Keller, he's bad against lefties. And teams really stacked their lineups against him last year. He had 430 plate appearances against left-handed batters, 395 against righties. You might be aware there are fewer left-handed batters in Major League Baseball than there are right-handed batters. That is a legitimate weakness that teams exploited. His curveball and cutter were really good against righties. They were terrible against lefties. So that's the one where can he develop I mean, he's got like 6 pitches. So can he turn the changeup into a pitch that he can use to neutralize lefties? I think that's the path forward for him.
The pitcher I don't agree with you on is Mitch Keller, who I do have as a bust this year, even though he's going a little bit later around pick 145. Everything you said, right? You take away the really bad starts in the second half. Well, if you leave them in, he had a 5.24 ERA over the final 3 months of the season. He is prone to these big blow-up starts. And while the strikeouts went up for Mitch Keller, I don't really have an explanation. The swinging strike rate was 9.7%. It doesn't really line up. So he did some nice things last year. He had a career year, but I don't like the ratios. I can't explain the strikeouts, and the team context with the Pirates is obviously.
Let me just go a little further with the ace caliber starts that Mitch Keller had, because it's easy to say, okay, his second half ERA, he had those disaster starts and his overall ERA was terrible. Just in the second half, Mitch Keller had a 6 inning start with 12 strikeouts. He had an 8 shutout inning start. He had another 8 shutout inning start where he allowed just 2 hits. And then he had 3 quality starts apart from that. So it was even just in the second half, it was a tale of 2 pitchers. And Chris looks like he wants to say something. He's raising his hand very politely.
You can't just take out the bad starts and not take out the good starts. I'm totally fine if you want to take out the 4 bad starts. I think you got to take out the 4 best starts too. That's the only way that it's fair.
I disagree. I think very few pitchers in baseball are capable of the starts that I just rattled off for Mitch Keller with the consistency that he delivered him. He shows a level of upside that few pitchers can even dream of.
Over Mitch Keller's final 13 starts, he allowed 6 earned runs or more 5 times. If you had him in the lineup for all of those starts, it doesn't matter about the good starts that he gave you in the second half.
But
it's a 5.59 ERA over his final 13 starts.
It was a weird year for pitching, specifically in that way. And unlike most of the pitchers who succumbed to that stuff, Mitch Keller had amazing starts. So, maybe pitching's just bad forever. And Mitch Keller, among other pitchers, is never going to be able to overcome that snowball effect. But if he is among the pitchers that do, he's probably an ace because of how good his good starts are.
Agree to disagree, Scott. Disagreement is good. People like to hear both sides of the coin, and you just got it on Mitch Keller.